Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Monday, March 19th, 11:53 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. You're looking at where we're located on cycle 24 moving forward as the mainstream is catching on and understanding that the sun affects the climate on Earth. They've admitted to this olive drab green that I've put in here on cycle 25. Cycle 25 will be 30% reduced from 24 at a minimum, and it may be worse. We'll be watching it. But the cosmic rays are going to be ever increasing for the rest of your life. Welcome to the grand solar minimum. Winter 2017-2018 remembered for extremes and record-breaking weather. This is from the Connecticut Post. And it's not over for you guys in Connecticut, unfortunately. Connecticut saw 36.9 inches of snow at Sikorsky Memorial Airport at Stratford, which was 14.4 inches or 55% more than average, with nearly 2 weeks of below freezing temperatures in the single numbers. Long Island Sound harbors froze, and there were ice jams on the Housatonic and Connecticut rivers. It's not over, even though spring's on the 21st. According to the equinox, a winter storm watch is in effect for central Pennsylvania, and 6 inches of snow could fall over a 2-day period, according to the National Weather Service. The spring snowstorm is expected to arrive Tuesday morning and continue through Wednesday evening. The weather agency states Tuesday marks the first day of spring, but not the last day of winter. Boom! That's pretty funny. So, sorry, PA, but the GFS models are in, and I just downloaded them just minutes ago. You're looking at 11 inches just where I predicted in the western suburbs, up to 15 inches out here, just west of there in rural PA, back in horse country out there. That's what we call that. But the coast of Jersey, just like I said, if this moves a little left, 50 miles to the left, things are going to change, and it moved 50 miles to the west. And certainly enough, we're looking at South Jersey, 15 plus inches. Boom! Right on the beach. Let's go surfing now. Long Island looks to be some heavy snow. We'll see how that develops. There could be a rain-snow line, but it's looking like 15 inches on Long Island everywhere. You guys are going to be buried. I'm seeing a little 16 to 18-inch blip here. So these models are a little cockamamie, but Connecticut heads up. Hartford, Connecticut, Central, South Central. You're looking at 15, 16 inches on the GFS model, and I don't know if I would believe this. What I'm just showing you is 48 hours out. So this is what's going to be on the ground the next 48 hours in the Northeast. We move it through, and there's a secondary storm coming through here to hit West Virginia and the Canadian Shield and Maine. But in the next 48 hours, you're looking at some heavy snow in Connecticut, Long Island, South Jersey, as well as all of southern Pennsylvania through West Virginia and Virginia mountains. Welcome to the grand solar minimum spring. Let's come over to weather.gov to look at the warnings. We have winter storm watches in the Sierras, as well as flood watches. We still have those avalanche warnings in central Utah. We have flood advisories and warnings throughout all these green areas. And look at this winter weather advisory and storm watch that's developing throughout the Appalachians and up through the Northeast. Gale warnings off the coast. Storm warnings along the entire East Coast. And we already have winter storm warnings in pink here. Northern West Virginia, southern Appalachians of Pennsylvania, and western Virginia. This is going to move all the way up the coast. We're talking heavy snows for Connecticut starting in 24 hours, heavy snows for Philadelphia starting in 12 hours, and this is just the beginning. There's more systems on the way. We'll talk about them as they develop. California was in for one of the driest winters on record. Then March happened. Ha ha ha! Boom! Yeah, they were at 20%. Now they're at 50%, and there's 10 feet of snow predicted in the next 5 days. I'll leave you links to all these articles down the bottom left of the video where it says show more. Go check it out. If you don't know where it's at, ask your neighbor. They'll help you out. You guys, you have to know where all these links are. I work so hard to provide you links to all of the information I'm providing. Snow accumulations in the southwest Montana mountains are near record levels. That's a heads up, but not a good one, because this is going to lead to record flooding in the months that follow. Southwest Montana is experiencing near record snow accumulations. The bad news, all that wet snow could cause some real problems. Oh. Ray Nichols, hydrologist at the NWS in Missoula, says the remarkable thing about the snow total so far this year is the region that the end of March and April are typically when a lot of moisture arrives. And we're already at levels that may be expected at peak snowpack. So this is going to lead to peak flooding because these snow systems are not stopping. Let's check out the West Coast quickly. And you can see what's happening in the Sierra here. Over the next 48 hours, they're predicting up to 4 feet of snow here in central Sierras in the Tahoe region. And it's going to just continue as these models progress. The West is the best and is going to be buried. And if we just take it through here to where I suggest is moderately accurate, 160 hours forward, these areas in Washington State are going to be buried. We're talking 5 feet of snow coming in everywhere here in the Cascades, especially heavily in central Sierras. There could be 5 to 10 feet. They're showing 49 inches down, or 39 inches down here in the south. And heads up, Idaho is going to get 2 to 4 feet of snow out of this entire 5-day system. So we're talking heavy snow throughout northern North America. And we're talking 6 to 10 inches in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 states. 15. And we're going to throw Utah, Colorado in there. That is an Easter bunny boom in the sonic variety. Whew. Now let's talk about some baseball-sized hail that hit Texas. Extreme weather threatens Tennessee River Valley today. This was accentuated by probably the geomagnetic activity coming into our atmosphere via the aurora through a Birkeland current, energizing the Earth and planetary weather systems, causing, they were predicting ping-pong-sized hail in North Carolina, but apparently baseball-sized hail hit Texas. This is coming from the watchers. I'll leave you links. They have pictures. There's another look at the massive hail that fell on Caldwell earlier this evening. It's very reminiscent of the Argentinian hail and the hail we just saw in Arkansas, and the hail that's going to continue to fall 5 to 8 inches, destroying crops, destroying cars, destroying craniums. Why is this happening? Stratospheric radiation is increasing at record levels, approaching levels never seen before in human history in the modern times. New England increased 19% from March 2015 to June 2017. The California area at 43 degrees north latitude increased 13%. You do the math. The Cloud Project proved that this causes increased cloud nucleation, increased hail size, increased flooding. Easter weather forecast shock. UK set for the coldest Easter in history as snow hits bank holes. That almost sounds like a dirty word, now doesn't it? You are here, and it is down from there. So this is the best of the worst and the beginning of the worst. This might be the last chill this winter, but next winter will be 10 times worse than what you've experienced this year. And as the nation reels from the latest bout of snow and freezing temperatures, forecasters warn the beast from the east is not done with us yet. Temperatures will plummet in the weekend, bringing heavy snow and ice to swaths of Britain this morning. Bitterly cold will keep the nation in ice through today and tomorrow before the mercury will rise. And according to the GFS models, that's going to happen for you finally on Wednesday. I ran them all through, and we'll take a quick look at them in a moment. State of emergency as rivers reach record levels in Croatia. Totally flux there. You'll get links from the watchers. Thank you, guys. Widespread damage after major flooding in Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. Heavy cosmic ray flux resulted in overflowing rivers in Puerto Plata province of Dominican Republic, causing major flooding on the 17th. Hundreds of homes affected. Significant loss of property is reported in some parts of the region. Whew. Let's talk about all this flooding. There are regions that are also experiencing extreme drought. And there's also extreme hail, all related to the cosmic ray flux increase that I just showed you the charts from. There's hundreds of monitors around the globe, so it's not like this is cherry-picked data. It's coming from the mainstream. The information that first came out of Spensmark in 1997 and proven over the last 2 decades through CERN and the Cloud Project have proven that increased cloud nucleation occurs between 15,000 and 25,000 feet in the stratosphere, the atmosphere, and leading to increased insanity with the contrail, chemtrail misidentification problem. Guys, there is geoengineering. There are cloud seeding happening all over the country. There is also cosmic ray mitigation happening high up in the stratosphere. But the majority of the contrails are due to what you're looking at here, increased stratospheric radiation in the atmosphere where planes fly. We're going to get on with that in April because the whole month of April is dedicated to the science between contrails and chemtrails and what's really going on with weather modification. But let's talk about my friend Christian Westbrook, the Ice Age farmer, and his newest post here over on Steemit, Global Food Production Report. This is the most comprehensive report on global crop losses for 2018 coming anywhere in the world. So I suggest you subscribe to Ice Age Farmer if you haven't, and you go subscribe to him and I on Steemit because they're going to shut us down at some point. Now, the USDA's latest data confirms global production is down with many catastrophic regional losses, and he explains it in great detail in this video. Media continues to change its tune and is now disclosing hints of the real risks associated with the Grand Solar Minimum, which we showed you in the financial report coming right from Ag Day, where they discuss the oncoming global unrest associated with localized famine and crop loss. I'll leave you links to all this. Check it out. Let's take a quick look at the seismic outlook. And what we're seeing is that there's really no quakes of note. However, if we just switch over to 1-day all magnitude, we can see there's a slight uptick in the New Madrid region here, as well as on the West Coast. And there has been some activity up here in the Cascade volcano region with heavy seismic activity in the Washington State region in the low levels, but sustained. And there has been some seismic activity around Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and the volcanoes here in the Cascades. So it appears as if magma is moving in the subsurface into this area. As predicted, we are expecting at least up to 8 volcanoes in this range to be erupting over the next decade or so. So this might be the beginning signs of magma moving into the region, specifically Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens. So that's a heads up. And this is coming from information sent by many sources. Worldwide volcano news and updates. All we have is Popo, which has continued activity for over 36 hours pretty consistently. Ducono, Reventador, and Aoba. I'll leave you links to that. You can check it out yourself. Also, we have Volcano Watch, which we all subscribe to, hopefully, so we can watch 24/7 live volcanoes erupting. Disasters causing billions in agricultural losses with drought leading the way. So I'll leave you links to this article if you want to get into that. Arctic heat waves linked to Snowpocalypse. The Snowpocalypse-Like storms. Guys, I've showed you the geographic reconstructions by NASA themselves. They know exactly what the paleoclimatology was back in the Dalton minimum, the the Maunder minimum, the Little Ice Age. Now, this nonsense is flooding the marketplace as explaining the effects. This is from the global warming alarmist camp, as you might say. The Arctic heat waves are linked to snowpocalypse-like snowpocalypse. It's hard to say that. Say that 3 times fast. This is total nonsense and fear-mongering and bad science. Extreme Arctic warming linked to extreme cold and snow in New England. Now, if you're talking about all the records broken with all the snow in North America, including the next 2 nor'easters, making 5 moving into spring that are about to go up the New England coast, they're full of shite because it only was above freezing in the Arctic this year for 6 hours. It's been minus 35 for the entire time. And we're going to actually go look at the map and go look at the current temperatures and the predicted temperatures for the next 4 weeks. And it's minus 35 in the Arctic Circle the whole time, which is why there's record ice there, which I reported on yesterday. This is total nonsense. Heather Goldstone should be fired, as well as Elsa Parton. Extreme Arctic warming is not linked to extreme cold and snow in New England. The grand solar minimum, the sun is linked to it. And we've been telling you the truth, and we've been reporting on it. We've been reporting on the science, the change in climate, and how rapidly it occurs, and what to expect. And here's the sea ice thickness today. It's at record levels and continuing to increase at a record pace not seen ever in history. This quick, rapid pace between line to line is a new feature. There's 5 meters of ice in all these red zones, and it extends from one side to the other of the Arctic. This ice is going to remain for a very long time, and multi-year ice is building as we're making the video. And let's look at the minus 40 degrees in the center of Greenland right now, extending all the way to the Arctic Circle currently. There is no place in the Arctic Circle above freezing, no matter what they tell you. And let's run through the models. March 17th, 18th, 19th. It gets even colder by the first day of spring. By the first day of spring, the entire Arctic is minus 35 or colder, which is why record ice is building up there. And this forecast extends for quite some time. See that little pulse of white that came in there? That's a pulse of negative 17. Which is much colder than freezing. So the first day of spring, nothing happens except the Arctic gets a little pulse of dark blue. That's minus 10. So there'll be an area of minus 10 freezing ice less quickly than the minus 35 area as we head into spring. If you guys didn't know, peak ice is in May, which is why here on March 28th, the entire Arctic is minus 35 because the ice will be rapidly building all the way through April. The forecast is showing on April 1st some of the coldest temperatures that have happened in the Arctic all year. So that's a heads up. So this is not ending. There is no warming in the Arctic. And the ice is building rapidly. And I just showed you the data, which you can go check yourself because there's links below. Now, down under blunder, David Suzuki is unmasked as a know-nothing huckster on Australian TV. This is beautiful. This is one of the biggest global warming alarmists. He was directly questioned before he was able to read off of a prompter. And he was asked why there has been no global warming for the last 20 years. Based on data coming directly from the UAH, which we all know is the University of Alabama, Huntsville, the RSS data, HAD-CRUT, and the GISS satellite, showing a 17-year flat trend, which suggests there be something wrong with the CO2 warming theory. David Suzuki didn't even know what those data sources were. And he said that the people at those places were probably manipulating the data. These are the 4 data sources the IPCC uses to lie to you, as well as NASA and NOAA. The frauds are all being exposed one at a time, and it is glorious. And I love it. And that's a boom. Oh man, it's so fun to report on this. Do you know who this guy is? He invented the internet, and he does not look like Al Gore. That's for damn sure. Now, guys, I'm showing you this particular picture because it's part of history, and we all need to know who Tim Berners-Lee is. Most people think the internet was invented by Al Gore, and they're sheeple, but the internet was invented in 1983. It was called ARPANET, or that's when the TCP IP protocol was invented, January 1st of 83. But the actual World Wide Web was conceived by Tim Berners-Lee. Now here's Tim Berners-Lee. I love that guy because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be listening to me. And that happened in 1990. The internet really didn't kick in for a while. And it wasn't really until 1996 that a lot of people knew about it and were using it. Now, I've been called out a lot in the last 7 months since we started this channel as a fraud or this, that, and the other, and who am I paid by? I'm not paid by anyone. And if you guys and all the new subscribers don't know the story behind me, David Mariello, and Leah Shaper, I'm David Mariello, a.k.a. Diamond. We created the Oppenheimer Ranch Project 4 years ago. It was an idea to separate ourselves from the nonsense that we had been witnessing for decades. And if you just come over to the YouTube channel and you click on About, you'll get the description. Leah and I are 2 humans who no longer support the inhuman oligarchic empire model, destroying our planet and our true nature as human beings. As activists, we decided to do something about it. So we opted out of our former lives to begin anew. And we are currently transforming pristine alpine wilderness into self-sustaining homestead and organic farm in preparation for the upcoming collapse. We plan on developing and executing every single step of the process in an open source format for the benefit of all humanity. Not because we're funded by anyone. We opted out of that life. So if you don't know why we're here, I'm telling you. And with our backgrounds in academia and the sciences, including climatology, geology, physics, biology, chemistry, and more, we hope to uncover the lies perpetrated by the mass media, one by one. And you can keep up with our progress on Facebook and on YouTube and on Steemit and on DTube. I have multiple pages I've been running for years on this topic. We have 19,177 subscribers in 8 months. Thank you all. Thank you all to our Patreons and patrons and people who send random donations to us. Every single dollar gets spent on this project because every single moment and air that we breathe, Leah and I, is the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. We don't have a part-time job at the gas station. We don't have a side career. We're not doing any covert operations. Every single moment of every single day for the last 3 years have been the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. And 3,500,000 views in 8 months is proof that people believe us. Now, there's a new statistic out on YouTube that shows that 107,000 unique visitors watched our videos last month. That means that this paltry 20,000 subscribers is not how many people we're reaching. We're reaching over 100,000. And 80,000 are too scared to subscribe because of what other people will think. What would they think of a real scientist telling his real opinion? Oh, God forbid. Well, here's the real person that is me, David Mariello, a.k.a. Diamond. And you can come troll me all you want. You can see what I've done for the last 20 years since I left academia. And it's all humanitarian and directly related to activism. It's all anti-government and nonsense, and you can come check for yourself. 2 decades of fighting the system. That's me. I'll leave you links to me. Here is the first publication I ever published as a scientist, and it is on the internet. I didn't know. I searched today for the first time. I didn't think any of my work would still be on the internet or used. And it is, because my science was sound. The only problem is global warming was taking over in '93 and all the funding was going there. And what I was discovering was that there was a climate cyclicity that was inevitable and happening for the entire geologic history of the planet Earth. And there's no way man was going to interrupt that. And they didn't want to hear that. So my first paper, there is my name as the title author, Mariello Ketterer, Department of Geology, Temple University. And my unit was the Upper Silurian, Wills Creek Formation, and I also worked on the Kiefer Sandstone. I'll leave you links to that. I couldn't believe it was on the internet. And I went in ResearchGate, I popped up. Someone had actually referenced one of my papers here that I did with Peter Goodwin, Orbital Forcing of a Hierarchy of Carbonate Allocycles in the Devonian Cedar Valley group of Iowa. We had gone out there and reported on the floods and looked at the sedimentary rocks and how they relate to Milankovitch hierarchy of orbital forcing, because we were using a model that turns out to be true, that the entire geologic history of Earth has been controlled by things outside of Earth, including the orbital perturbations of our planet and other things happening in our solar system. So I actually have a reference on ResearchGate. Here I am referenced here in the Paleozoic Sequence Stratigraphy, Biostratigraphy, and Biogeography textbook. Boom! And thankfully, in the unit that I wrote my master's thesis on, the Kiefer Sandstone, here in the annotated bibliography of the Kiefer Formation itself, since its naming in the 1800s, there is David James Mariello, Peter Goodwin, and E.J. Anderson in 1994 talking about the Milankovitch control of the stratigraphic positioning of iron beds within the Clinton group, which I looked at for years. Hope you got something out of the video. If you think I'm funded by big oil, then I'm going to block you as soon as you comment. Be safe, everybody.